The moment I gave birth, my husband looked at our newborn daughter and whispered the sentence that ripped something out of me forever. That baby isn't mine. Not congratulations. Not, are you okay? Not even a touch. Just accusation, 16 hours of labor. Blood, fear, shaking, screaming, and he stared at her like she was a stranger I had smuggled into the room. He didn't move closer. He stepped back. I will never forget that step. It felt like he was stepping out of our family. He looked at her tiny fingers, her soft cheeks, her warm brown skin. And instead of love, he chose doubt. But what I didn't know then was that he had already decided months before she was born that she wouldn't be his. That night, while nurses checked my vitals and rolled my bed down the hallway, he walked ahead of us, not beside me, not behind me, ahead. Like he couldn't get away fast enough. Every time he glanced at the baby in my arms, his jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed, his shoulders stiffened. When the nurse asked, "Would the father like to hold her?" he said, "Let's wait. Wait. Wait for what? For her skin to lighten? For a sign from the universe." That night I held her alone, fed her alone, cried alone. He slept on the couch in the corner of the hospital room, facing the wall. But the real shock wasn't his distance. It was the reason behind it. 2 days later, we were home. I was still bleeding, still recovering, still learning how to breathe through the pain. He found me in the kitchen, heating soup with one hand and holding our baby in the other. He didn't ask, "How are you feeling?" He asked, "Who's the father?" I laughed at first, a broken, exhausted laugh, the kind that escapes because reality feels too absurd. But he wasn't joking. He stood there, arms crossed, eyes cold. "Her skin is too dark," he said. "Explain it. Explain genetics to a grown man. Explain that his own grandmother was darker than both of us. Explain that babies' skin tones shift as they grow." He didn't care. He wanted a villain. And he chose me. But what he said next made my knees go weak. He told me he wanted a paternity test. But not just a test, a spectacle. "I'll do it in front of my family," he said. "They deserve to know." Know what? A lie he invented. He had already told them. All of them. His mother, his brothers, and someone else. Someone who shouldn't have been involved at all, a female coworker I barely knew existed. He had planted the seed long before the baby arrived. He didn't just doubt me. He planned my humiliation. But the person he told about it the most was the person he shouldn't have been talking to at all. The days before the test were torture. He walked around the house like a stranger. Didn't hold the baby, didn't help, didn't sleep beside me. He spent hours texting, always turning his screen away when I entered the room, always smiling at messages that weren't from me. One night, I heard him whisper on the phone, "I'll handle it. Just wait until the test." Handle what? Who was he talking to? And why did his voice sound excited? I didn't know then, but I would soon discover exactly who he'd been sharing our marriage with. The test center was cold, sterile, quiet. I carried our daughter in her tiny pink blanket. He walked a step ahead, as usual. His mother came. His brothers, and that coworker. The woman with perfectly straight hair, a tight smile, and eyes that never left him. I sat on one side of the room, rocking our baby. They sat together on the other side, like a wall had already been built between us. He wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't look at the baby. He only looked at the technician. "Make sure it's accurate," he said, like they were running a criminal investigation. The test took 10 minutes, but the humiliation lasted much longer. The results would take days, but his mask was about to fall much sooner. He used those days to punish me. If the baby cried, he walked away. If I asked for help, he said, "You made your choices. Deal with them." He slept facing the opposite wall. He reorganized his phone habits. He guarded it like a secret. I noticed the pattern. He only touched his phone in the bathroom, only smiled when he was hiding behind a closed door, only relaxed when he thought I wasn't looking. I wasn't crazy. I was postpartum. There's a difference. And then the email arrived. The paternity report came at 2:17 p.m. I can still see that number burned into my memory. I opened it, hands trembling. And there it was, 99.99% probability. He was the father. I almost collapsed with relief, not because I doubted myself, but because I finally had proof to weaponize against the lies he had built. I walked to the living room. He was on his phone. I said, "The results are in." He didn't look nervous. He looked ready, like he expected validation. I handed him the phone. He read it. His face went blank. Then he said, "The test must be wrong." Not an apology, not regret. Denial. Pure, selfish denial. But the test wasn't the only truth I would uncover that day. A week later, his phone buzzed. He was in the shower. I was feeding the baby. A preview popped up. "So, is she leaving you or not?" My heart stopped. I unlocked the phone. I'll never apologize for that. And then I saw it. Months. Not weeks. Months of messages with her, the coworker, flirting, nudes, hotel reservations, plans for weekends he claimed were business trips, screenshots of my social media with captions like, "Tell me she doesn't look guilty. She's hiding something. She deserves this. He was cheating," and trying to justify it by turning me into the villain. He didn't doubt our daughter. He doubted his ability to hide his affair, and now he had nowhere left to hide. I confronted him that night. He walked into the bedroom, towel over his shoulder, pretending nothing was wrong. "I saw your messages," I said. He froze, eyes wide, pulse visible in his neck. He didn't deny it. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He just muttered, "So what now? What now?" He destroyed my peace, my trust, my birth experience, and he wanted me to answer, "What now?" I stood up, held my daughter close, and said, "What now is simple. I'm filing for divorce. You will pay child supports. And one day, she will know you doubted her before you ever loved her." He didn't speak, didn't move, didn't chase me. He just sat on the bed, still gripping the towel like it was the only thing holding him up. I left that night, packed only essentials, my daughter, her documents, my documents, a few clothes, her favorite blanket. The house echoed behind me, not with memories, but with every unanswered question I had ignored for too long. Life outside wasn't easy. Postpartum is hard. Divorce is hard. Starting over is hard. But staying with someone who tried to break me would have been even harder. Slowly, I rebuilt. I learned how to sleep again, how to breathe again, how to smile without forcing it, how to love my daughter without fear clouding the room. And with Chimi, the guilt dissolved, the shame evaporated, the lies lost their power, because the truth always wins, eventually, even if it arrives through a paternity test. Final message: call to action. If you want more stories like this, more strength, more survival, more justice, hit subscribe and help this new channel grow. Your support keeps these stories alive. And remember, you are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to rebuild. You are allowed to choose peace over pain. And sometimes, the life you deserve begins the moment you leave the one that was killing you.